The rain was heavy that
brought
night.
what you asked for.
Dark clouds covered the
Is it all
sky, and
Yes,
the road
it's
was
all here.
empty.
Thank you.
A black luxury car moved slowly through the forest road. Inside the car sat a man who had everything in the world: money, power, and fame. Yet his eyes looked empty. His name was Daniel. He was a millionaire, but his heart was broken. Daniel did not come here for peace. He came here to disappear. Weeks ago, his life ended in one moment. A phone call, a hospital room, and then silence. Since that day, Daniel stopped talking to people. He stopped living. Pain followed him everywhere. So he bought a small shack far from the city. No neighbors, no noise, no memories, just silence. The car stopped. Daniel stepped out into the rain. The shack stood alone, old and weak. Broken windows. A door hanging slightly open. It was perfect for a man who wanted nothing from life. He walked to the door and pushed it open. Then, he froze. Inside the dark shack, someone was there. A young black woman stood near the corner, holding two small babies in her arms. The babies were twins. They were crying softly, their tiny faces cold and tired. Daniel's heart stopped. This place was supposed to be empty. The woman looked scared. Her clothes were wet. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying for a long time. She took a small step back, holding the twins closer to her chest. "Please," she said in a low, shaking voice. "Please don't send us out." Daniel said nothing. The sound of rain hit the roof loudly. The twins cried louder now. One of them coughed. Daniel looked around the shack. There was no fire, no food, nothing. "Why are you here?" Daniel finally asked. The woman swallowed hard. "I had nowhere else to go." Daniel felt anger rise in his chest. This place was his escape, his last place to breathe. And now strangers were standing inside it. "You need to leave," he said coldly. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "I will go in the morning. Please, just tonight." The twins cried again. One baby's hand reached out, touching Daniel's coat by mistake. That small touch sent pain through Daniel's body. He pulled his coat back quickly. "Don't," he said. The woman looked down. "I'm sorry." Her name was Naomi, but she did not say it yet. Daniel turned away. His chest felt tight. He remembered another hospital room, another small heartbeat that stopped before it began. He clenched his fists. "I came here to be alone," he said. "I don't want problems." Naomi nodded slowly. "I understand. I just need one night." Lightning flashed through the window. The shack shook slightly. The twins screamed in fear. Daniel closed his eyes. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Daniel sighed. "One night," he said. "In the morning, you leave." Naomi looked up in shock. "Thank you," she whispered. Daniel walked to the other side of the shack and dropped his bag. He did not look at them again. That night felt endless. The rain did not stop. The twins cried again and again. Daniel lay on the hard bed, staring at the ceiling. Sleep did not come. Every cry felt like a knife. At dawn, the crying stopped. Daniel opened his eyes. Then he heard something unexpected. Laughter. Soft, pure, baby lauter. He slowly stood up and looked toward Naomi. One twin was smiling. The other was holding Naomi's finger tightly. Daniel's heart cracked. He turned away quickly. He did not know it yet, but that moment was about to change everything. Because Naomi was not just a homeless woman, and those twins were not just babies. And Daniel did not come to the shack to escape pain. He came to meet it. Morning light entered the shack slowly. The rain had stopped, but the cold stayed. Daniel stood near the broken window, holding a cup of black coffee. He did not drink it. His eyes stayed on the floor. Sleep never came to him that night. Every baby cry had cut deep into his chest. Behind him, Naomi sat quietly on the old couch. The twins were finally calm. One slept in her arms. The other watched Daniel with curious eyes. Daniel felt that stare. He turned slowly. The baby did not cry. He smiled. Daniel looked away at once. He hated that smile. It made his chest hurt. "You should get ready," Daniel said in a low voice. "When the sun rises more, you leave." Naomi nodded. "I will." She said it softly, without anger. Daniel expected tears, begging, fear, but she showed none of that. Instead, she stood up and started cleaning the shack. She picked up trash, wiped dust, and fixed the small table. She moved like someone used to working quietly. Daniel watched her without knowing why. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I know," Naomi replied. but it helps me feel human." Those words stayed in the air. Daniel turned his face away again. Naomi found a small can of food in her bag. She warmed it on a weak stove and fed the twins carefully. Her hand shook, but her face stayed calm. Daniel noticed how little food she had. "You didn't eat," he said. "I already did," she lied. Daniel knew she was lying. Silence filled the shack again. Then Naomi spoke. "My husband died 4 months ago," she said suddenly. Daniel froze. "He worked late nights," she continued. "One night, a car hit him. He never came home." Daniel's fingers tightened around the cup. "I tried everything," Naomi said. "Jobs, shelters, friends." Doors kept closing. Daniel did not ask questions. Pain knew pain. "My family turned away," Naomi whispered. "They said twins are a burden." One baby started to cry softly. Naomi kissed the baby's head. Daniel felt something twist inside him. "You could go to the city," Daniel said. "There are places." Naomi shook her head fast. "They are looking for me." Daniel looked at her sharply. "Who?" he asked. Naomi stopped talking. Her eyes moved to the window, to the trees, to the road. Fear filled her face. Daniel noticed it. Before he could speak again, a sound came from outside. A car. Naomi's face went pale. She rushed to the corner of the shack and pulled the twins close. Her body shook. "Please," she whispered. "Please don't let them take my babies." Daniel stepped toward the door. He looked outside. It was just an old truck passing by. When the sound faded, Naomi collapsed onto the floor, breathing fast. "I'm sorry," she said. "I shouldn't be here." Daniel stood still. Something was wrong. Very wrong. "You are hiding," he said. Naomi did not answer. The twins cried again, louder now. Daniel felt anger rise. Not at her, but at the world. "Eat," he said suddenly. Naomi looked up, confused. "I said eat," Daniel repeated. "I will not throw babies out hungry." Naomi's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. Daniel turned away so she would not see his face. Because his eyes were burning. He remembered another woman, another future, another life that never came. He remembered the sound of a heartbeat fading away. That night, Daniel sat outside the shack, staring at the sky. Inside, Naomi rocked the twins to sleep. Daniel made a decision he did not understand yet. He would not ask questions. Not today. But he also would not leave them alone. And somewhere far away, a black car slowed near the forest road. The forest was quiet that morning. Too quiet. Daniel stood outside the shack, fixing a loose wooden step. He did not know why he was doing it. Yesterday, this place meant nothing to him. Today, it felt different. Inside the shack, Naomi hummed a soft song. The twins lay on a thin blanket, watching her face. Her voice was low and calm, but her eyes stayed alert, always moving toward the window. Daniel noticed that. "You keep looking outside," he said. Naomi stopped singing. "I listen," she replied. "For danger." Daniel frowned. "Danger doesn't come to places like this." Naomi gave a weak smile. "That's what they think." Daniel felt a strange chill. Later that day, Daniel drove to a small nearby town. He returned with food, warm clothes, and milk for the twins. He placed the bags on the table without saying a word. Naomi stared at them in shock. "This is too much," she said. Daniel shrugged. "They eat. You eat. That's all." Naomi's hands shook as she opened the bag. "No one has helped me like this," she whispered. Daniel did not answer. That evening, Naomi cooked a simple meal. The smell filled the shack. Daniel had not eaten warm food in weeks. He sat at the table without speaking. "Thank you," Naomi said softly. Daniel nodded. One twin laughed suddenly. Daniel looked up. The baby was staring straight at him. Daniel froze. "Don't look at me like that," he muttered. The baby laughed again. Naomi smiled for the first time. "He likes you," she said. Daniel pushed his chair back. "That's impossible." But later that night, when the twins cried, it was Daniel who woke first. He stood in the doorway, watching Naomi rock them. Her face looked tired, older than her age. "How old are you?" Daniel asked suddenly. Naomi hesitated. 24. Daniel's chest tightened. "You're too young for this pain," he said. Naomi gave a sad smile. "Pain doesn't ask age." Silence fell again. Then Naomi spoke quietly. "I worked in a big house," she said. "Very big. Very rich." Daniel listened. "I cleaned. I cooked. I stayed invisible," she continued. They never learned my name. Daniel knew that world. The woman of the house was kind to me, Naomi said. She was sick, very sick. Naomi stopped. Her hands trembled. She trusted me, Naomi whispered. Then she died. Daniel felt something cold in his stomach. The twins, he asked. Naomi closed her eyes. They are hers. The words hit Daniel hard. She asked me to protect them, Naomi said. Her family wanted control, power, money. Daniel stood up slowly. And you ran, he said. I didn't run, Naomi said, tears falling. I escaped. A sound broke the silence. A low engine. Daniel moved to the window. Far away, through the trees, a black car stopped for a moment, then moved again. Naomi gasped. That's them, she whispered. They found me. Daniel felt anger rise like fire. No, he said firmly. They didn't. Naomi grabbed his arm. They take babies, she said, and erase people. Daniel looked at her, then at the twins, then back at the road. He made a choice. You stay here, he said. No one touches them. Naomi looked at him, shocked. Why, she asked. Daniel's voice was low. Because I lost a family once, he said. I won't watch it happen again. That night, Daniel locked every door. And far away, a phone rang inside a black car. The morning felt wrong. The air was heavy, even though the sky was clear. Birds were silent. The forest felt like it was holding its breath. Daniel stood outside the shack, his eyes fixed on the dirt road. He had not slept much. Every sound during the night had pulled him awake. Inside, Naomi packed the twins' clothes with shaking hands. They will come today, she said softly. Daniel did not turn around. Who? He asked, though he already knew. The family, Naomi replied. They never stopped looking. Daniel finally faced her. Then they made a mistake, he said. Because they found me. Naomi looked at him, confused. You don't understand, she said. They are powerful, rich. They erase people. Daniel gave a cold smile. So do I. Naomi fell silent. A few hours later, the sound came. Engines. More than one. Daniel's jaw tightened. Two black SUVs appeared between the trees. They moved slowly, like predators that already knew their prey could not run. Naomi grabbed the twins and backed away. Please, she whispered. They will take them. Daniel stepped forward and opened the door. Three men stepped out of the cars. Expensive suits, dark glasses, calm faces with no emotion. One man smiled. Mr. Daniel Cross, he said. We finally meet. Daniel did not answer. We are here for the children, the man continued. You have something that does not belong to you. Naomi's body shook. Daniel stood firm. They belong with her, Daniel said. And they stay. The man laughed softly. You are emotional, he said. This is a business matter. Daniel's eyes darkened. You walked on my land, Daniel said. That was your first mistake. The second man stepped forward. The twins are heirs, he said. They belong to the family name. The girl was just help. Naomi gasped. She is their mother, Daniel said coldly. And she's not just help. The first man's smile faded. You don't want trouble, he warned. Daniel took one step closer. I live with trouble, he replied. You should be afraid of it. The men exchanged looks. Then one of them pulled out papers. Legal orders, he said. Custody transfer. Daniel glanced at them once. Then he tore them in half. Naomi cried out. The men froze. You have no power here, Daniel said. And you never will. One man raised his phone. This is not over, he said. Daniel leaned in, his voice low. It is, he said. Because the next call you make will be to your lawyer. The men hesitated. They knew his name. They knew his reach. Slowly they stepped back. The SUVs turned and disappeared into the trees. Silence returned. Naomi collapsed onto the floor, holding the twins tightly. They will come back, she cried. They always do. Daniel knelt beside her. Then we will be ready, he said. Naomi looked at him through tears. Why are you doing this? She asked. You don't know us. Daniel looked at the twins. Then away. I lost my wife, he said quietly. And my child. Naomi froze. I couldn't protect them, Daniel continued. But I can protect you. Naomi covered her mouth, crying silently. That night, Daniel made calls. Powerful calls. Dangerous calls. And far away, in a tall glass building, a man slammed his desk in anger. They were supposed to be easy, he said. Now Daniel Cross is involved. The hunt was no longer simple. It was war. Night fell fast. The forest looked darker than ever. The wind moved through the trees like a warning. Inside the shack, only one lamp was on. Its weak light shook on the walls. Daniel stood near the door, holding his phone. Naomi sat on the bed with the twins. She kept them close, like the world wanted to steal them at any second. You should leave, Naomi said quietly. They won't stop now. Daniel did not look at her. Neither will I. A sound broke the silence. Tires. Stopping. Naomi's breath stopped. Daniel raised his hand. Stay behind me, he said. The knock came next. Slow. Calm. Confident. Daniel opened the door. Only one man stood there this time. Older. Calm. Sharp eyes. He did not wear sunglasses. Mr. Cross, the man said. My name is Victor Hale. Daniel stared at him. I know who you are. Victor smiled slightly. Then you know why I'm here. Daniel stepped outside and closed the door behind him. You don't bring war to quiet places, Daniel said. Victor looked around the forest. Quiet places hide loud secrets. Daniel's jaw tightened. You lost your wife, Victor said suddenly. And your unborn son. Daniel's eyes burned. That pain, Victor continued. It makes men weak. Daniel stepped closer. It makes me honest, he said. And dangerous. Victor's smile faded. The twins are worth millions, Victor said. They belong to blood, not kindness. Daniel laughed once. Blood didn't protect them. She did. Victor's voice grew cold. You protect them today, he said. Tomorrow, they disappear. Daniel leaned in. Touch them, he said softly, and your empire falls. Silence stood between them. Victor studied Daniel's face. You mean it, he said. Daniel did not blink. Victor stepped back. This is not finished, Victor said. You crossed the line. Daniel replied calmly. No, he said. You did. Victor turned and walked away. Inside the shack, Naomi shook. They know everything, she said. They will destroy you. Daniel knelt in front of her. They already tried, he said, and they failed. One twin reached out and grabbed Daniel's finger. Daniel froze. Then he did not pull away. The next morning, the news broke. Stock markets shook. A major company froze accounts. Investigations opened. Victor Hale's name appeared everywhere. Naomi watched the screen in shock. What did you do? She asked. Daniel answered softly. I told the truth. But danger was not gone. That afternoon, a court order arrived. Emergency custody hearing. Naomi's legs gave out. They will take them legally, she cried. Daniel helped her stand. No, he said. They will listen. The courtroom was cold and white. Victor sat on one side, Daniel on the other. Naomi held the twins. The judge looked tired. These children, the judge said, are at the center of power and pain. Victor stood. They belong to a wealthy family, he said. The woman is unfit. Naomi cried out. Daniel stood next. She saved their lives, he said. She ran while others planned. The room fell silent. Then the judge spoke. Temporary protection granted, he said. No removal until full investigation. Naomi broke down in tears. Victor's face hardened. Outside the court, he whispered to Daniel. You won today. Daniel replied. They won, he said, looking at the twins. That night, Naomi asked a question she feared. What happens if I lose? Daniel answered without pause. Then they become mine, he said. Naomi stared at him. Daniel looked at the twins, sleeping peacefully. For the first time, he whispered, I'm not afraid of tomorrow. Time would not stop. Days passed slowly after the court hearing. The forest shack was no longer a hiding place. It became a shelter, a place where fear slowly learned to rest. Daniel stayed close, always watching, always listening. Naomi noticed the change first. Daniel no longer stood near the door at night. He slept, not deeply, but enough. The twins grew stronger. Their cries became laughs. Their tiny hands reached for everything, light, sound, life. One morning, Naomi found Daniel in the kitchen, warming milk carefully. You don't have to do that, she said. Daniel replied without looking up. I know, but he still did it. Naomi smiled. That smile stayed with Daniel all day. Later that week, Daniel took Naomi and the twins to a small house near the town. It was simple, clean, safe. For now, Daniel said. You need walls stronger than wood. Naomi touched the door slowly. I've never had a place like this, she whispered. Daniel nodded. Neither have I. The twins crawled on the floor, laughing. Their joy filled the empty rooms. Something inside Daniel shifted. At night, memories still came. The hospital, the silence, the loss. But now, another sound joined those memories. Breathing, soft laughter, life. One evening, Naomi sat with Daniel on the porch. Why did you really stay? She asked. Daniel was quiet for a long time. I thought pain ends when you run, he said. But pain waits. Naomi listened. When I saw you holding the twins, Daniel continued, I saw someone fighting when the world gave up. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. I was scared every day, she said. I still am. Daniel looked at her. So am I, he said. That honesty changed something between them. Not love. Not yet. Trust. Weeks passed. The investigation moved forward. The powerful family lost control. Truth came out. Lies fell apart. Daniel watched from a distance. He did not chase revenge. He chose protection. One afternoon, Naomi received a letter. Her hands shook as she read it. They dropped the claim, she said. They can't touch the twins. Her knees gave out. Daniel caught her. For the first time, she cried without fear. The twins clapped, not knowing why. That night, Daniel visited a place he had avoided for months. The cemetery. Naomi stayed back with the twins. Daniel stood before a stone with two names. I didn't forget you, he said quietly. I just learned how to breathe again. The wind moved softly. Daniel did not feel alone. When he returned, the twins were asleep on Naomi's chest. Daniel covered them with a blanket. Naomi whispered, They call you Dada. Daniel froze. What? He asked. She smiled weakly. They hear me say it. Daniel sat down slowly. Something warm filled his chest. Not pain. Purpose. Months later, Naomi started working again. She helped other women who had nothing. Daniel supported quietly, without his name. The twins learned to walk, then run. They followed Daniel everywhere. One day, one twin fell and cried. Daniel picked him up without thinking. The crying stopped. Daniel laughed. It surprised him. That night, Naomi said softly, You saved us. Daniel shook his head. No, he replied. You reminded me why life fights back. Outside, the forest was calm. The war was not over. But healing had begun. And sometimes, healing is the real miracle. Years passed quietly. The world moved fast, but Daniel's life slowed down. The small house near town was no longer new. It was warm. It was lived in. Laughter filled the rooms now. The twins were no longer babies. They ran through the hallway, their feet loud, their voices full of life. They called Daniel Dada without thinking. Daniel never corrected them. Naomi watched from the kitchen, smiling softly. She still carried the strength of her past, but fear no longer ruled her eyes. Daniel stood by the window, holding an old photo, a photo of his wife. He looked at it once, then he placed it back in the drawer, not to forget her, but because he no longer needed to hold pain to remember love. Outside, a car stopped. Naomi looked up. It's time, she said. Daniel nodded. That day, the twins stood in clean clothes, holding Naomi's hands. Daniel walked beside them as they entered a large building. The court, not for fear, but for closure. The judge smiled kindly. These children, she said, have been protected with love. Daniel signed the final papers. Naomi's hand shook as she did the same. It was official. The twins were safe. Forever. Outside, the sun felt brighter. Naomi stopped walking. Daniel, she said quietly. He turned. I don't know how to thank you, she said. You gave us a life. Daniel shook his head. No, he replied. You gave me one. They stood in silence. The twins ran ahead, laughing. That evening, a small celebration filled the house. No rich guests. No cameras. Just food, light, and joy. Daniel watched Naomi as she talked with neighbors. She was no longer hiding. She belonged. Later that night, after the twins fell asleep, Daniel sat on the porch. Naomi joined him. You changed, she said. Daniel smiled slightly. I stopped running, he replied. Naomi took a deep breath. There's something I need to say, she said. Daniel waited. I never planned to stay, Naomi continued. But this became home. Daniel looked at her. So did you, he said softly. The air grew quiet. Not awkward. Peaceful. Time moved forward. Naomi opened a small center for women and children. A safe place. Daniel funded it, but his name was never on the door. The twins grew taller. Smarter. Kinda. They learned where they came from. And they learned who chose them. One afternoon, Daniel found the twins in his old office. What are you doing? He asked. They smiled. We're drawing you, one said. The picture showed 4 people holding hands. Daniel swallowed hard. Years ago, Daniel bought a shack to escape pain. He believed life was over. But pain had led him to purpose, and loss had led him to love. One evening, Daniel stood in the forest again. The old shack was gone. In its place stood a small garden. Naomi and the twins joined him. Daniel looked at the sky. I thought pain destroyed me, he said, but it rebuilt me. Naomi placed a hand on his arm. The twins hugged his legs. Daniel smiled. Not the smile of a rich man, but the smile of a whole man. Because sometimes you don't find family by blood. You find family by choice. And sometimes the miracle is not what you escape. The miracle is what you stay for.